Hello and welcome to Tech Deals. Are you looking for a value power supply for your new system build or the upgrade of an existing system? Are you looking for a power supply that delivers good efficiency, good features, a long warranty for a very reasonable price? You've come to the right video. Cooler Master's MasterWatt 450, 450 watt, 80 plus bronze power supply, $49. This is a lot of value for the money. 5-year warranty, black cables, true fanless design, up to 15% power consumption. Most other $49 power supplies never actually turn the fans off, so when your system isn't idle, it's completely silent. Did I mention 5-year warranty? Now, I've reviewed many other power supplies in the $49 price range. EVGA's B Series, Corsair's CX Series. Nice power supplies, very good. They don't have 5-year warranties. This does. So this offers value for the money. It offers more features and more abilities than those power supplies do for essentially the same price. That's a deal. Now, what CPUs or systems can you use this power supply for? Well, first of all, this would be an excellent replacement power supply for a pre-built OEM system where maybe you had a power supply go bad, or you have a power supply that does not provide enough power to add in a graphics card or plug in all your devices. If you have a Dell, HP, Lenovo, Acer, etc., a pre-built power machine, you could use this to replace your existing power supply to install a faster or fancier graphics card, plug in more hard drives or other devices, or simply replace a failed power supply. The bonus? It is quieter than most of those units and it uses less electricity. It will save you a little bit on your power bill over time. As for what CPUs I would use this for, both pre-builts and custom builds, I have CPUs here representing what works well with this. An i3, an i5, or an i7, or the Ryzen 3, 5, or 7, or even an FX-based processor. None of these CPUs use much more than about 100 watts of power. Overclocking, they can go a bit over that, but not too much so. Even a very nice graphics card like an RX 580 or a GTX 1080 is not going to pull more than about 220 watts of power. Even if we're really generous, and we say 225 watts of power on a high-end graphics card and 125 watts of power from an overclocked Ryzen 7 or i7 CPU, you still are only looking at 350 watts of power. You're 100 watts under this. Your RAM and storage solutions are not going to use that much power. So for most single graphics cards on the market, and for most situations with any of these CPUs, this is really all that you need. A couple of exceptions. The GTX 1080 Ti deserves more power supply than this. All the RX Vega cards, RX Vega 56, 64, and the 64 liquid cooler all need more power supply than this. What would I get if I'm looking at those kind of units? Something like this. This is a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply. It's about twice the price at about $100 compared to this. Now, it's not twice the wattage, but it does have more features. It is more efficient than this is, and if you are buying a $700+ graphics card, buy a nicer power supply. It deserves it. But if you're buying a $200 to $400 graphics card, this is really all that you need. Linked in the video description below will be this power supply, that V750, as well as the competition that I've previously reviewed, and a link to all of my power supply reviews. The EVGA 500 watt 80 plus bronze, the Corsair CX series, those are 80 plus bronze as well. They're all at about the $50 price point. But the EVGA and Corsair, as I said before, do not come with a 5-year warranty. They're not true fanless units where the fan actually will not spin until you reach a certain power consumption. So this does offer a lot of value for the money. It should be on your short list if you're looking for a $50 power supply to replace a failed unit or for a new build. A quick note about the 80 plus bronze before we open this up and take a look at what's inside. 80 plus bronze means that it's an average of 85% power efficient. For every 100 watts of power that your computer needs internally, this will draw up to 115 watts of power from the wall. An 80 plus gold would pull 110, an 80 plus white would pull 120. So the more efficient the power supply, the less wasted electricity drawn from the wall. It is important to note that the rated wattage of a power supply is how much it provides to your internal components. They all overdraw from the wall to make up for their efficiency loss in the power consumption. But that's what the 80 plus bronze means if you were curious. Well, that's enough talking. Why don't we open this up and take a look inside? Here you can see the box open with the paperwork and cables inside. It's a power supply, it's not overly complicated. But we do have a user's manual, which is written in a whole bunch of different languages if you're curious. You can see the limited warranty back here. Did I mention it had a 5-year warranty? I don't think I've seen a $50 power supply yet that has a $50 warranty. We have in here a power cable. It's a standard 3-pin connector, the same that's been used for a very long time in the PC business. And then you can see something very cool, modular power cables. When is the last time you saw a $50, or in this case, semi-modular power supply with a 5-year warranty that's semi-fanless? That's why this is a deal. This offers features that you won't find on the more expensive units. Inside the box, you will find 4 case screws. This is used for mounting this to your case in case your case doesn't have them. Here we have 2 modular cables. One side has 4 serial ATA data cables. You only have to use one of them if you just have a couple of drives to plug in. The other one is a combo cable that has 2 SATA cables. It has 2 of the old 4-pin Molex connectors, and just in case you need one, it has a floppy power cable. The other modular connector has the 2 6+2 PCI Express power connectors. So if you want to drive, say, a GTX 1070 or even a 1080 card that uses 2 8-pin connectors, no problem, this has got you covered. These do split as well, so if by chance you have a card that needs 2 6-pin connectors, maybe an older card that was typical for a few years ago, then that will have you covered as well. The 2 cables that are not modular, which are not removable, are the 2 you have to use anyway, the 24-pin ATX power cable and a 4+4 CPU power connector. If by chance you have a motherboard that only uses a 4-pin connector, not to worry, these split, or they can combine together for an 8-pin power connector. Plenty for anything you'd put this into. I really like the design of this. Notice that it does have the Cooler Master logo there and it does have the name of it, but notice that it is not a bright color, it's not gaudy, it's not going to affect the aesthetics of your system if you care about the outward appearance. It's muted and doesn't interfere with the looks. The other side has all the power information, wattage draw, rails, all that sort of thing. The top of it is completely black, absolutely will not affect the appearance of your system whatsoever. It's very nice. And then if you look at the bottom, you will see the fan. Again, nice, muted, looks nice. Now, there's an important thing I want to talk about with this power supply. It can provide all 450 watts on the 12-volt rail. Most budget power supplies will not do this. They provide only a percentage, usually between 80 to 90% of the power on the 12-volt rail. The 12-volt rail is important. That's what powers your everything from your CPU to your graphics card, all the high power draw devices. So being able to get all 450 there is very important. Many other power supplies that are 500 watts actually don't provide any more than 450 watts on that rail. And then finally on the back end that exposes out the back end of your computer, we have something I love seeing on a power supply, a real physical hardware switch. Instead of being completely dependent on the power button on your computer, if you want to remove all power to your system, you can simply turn it off. This is important if you do a lot of upgrades to your system because it keeps your system grounded. You want to keep the power cable plugged into the power supply, but turn it off. That will leave it grounded, but make sure that you can't accidentally turn your system on while you're making changes to your computer. Notice there is no voltage selector switch. This works from 100 volts all the way up to 240. So with the appropriate power cable, it will work anywhere in the world automatically without you having to manually select it. In short, I think I found my new favorite budget power supply. If you were a longtime viewer of my channel, you have seen me use multiple inexpensive power supplies in the past. I have done upgrade videos showing the EVGA 400, 430, and 500 watt power supplies being installed in old Dell Optiplex machines bought off of eBay, upgrading newer machines, and in system builds. I quite like them. I think for this price, I like this more now. The 80 plus bronze, the modular power cable system, the sleeved cables, the no ketchup and mustard colored cables, 5-year warranty, completely silent fan up to 15% consumption, and one other thing that I just noticed when I was looking at it there, active power correction. That is not something you'll find on the budget units. This is very cool, actually. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember to subscribe to my channel with the big huge red button directly below. Questions and comments in the comment section. And as always, check out the links in the video description. The link to Amazon and Newegg for this power supply, the other power supply I showed you before, all of my power supply reviews, if you want to see the past ones, will be down there as well. I like this power supply. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in my next video.